Welcome to another edition of the Body Banter. Here we talk openly about chronic pain, about anxiety, grief, recovery, and resilience. No filters, no judgment, just real conversations that connect us. My name's Sean Martin, and I'd like to introduce John W. Green.
Hello, how are you doing, Sean? You okay?
Yeah, fantastic, John.
Good.
And this week I wanted to kind of like talk about depression first of all, because nowadays it seems that there's more depression over many things, and I'd just like to first of all talk about emotional and mental symptoms. So if I just read off here that some notes are prepared. Persistent low mood. So these are symptoms. If you've got these symptoms, you need to stand up and think about maybe you're starting to get depression. Feeling of sadness, emptiness, or hopelessness. Irritability, increased feelings of anger, frustration, or relentlessness. Loss of interest, a lack of pleasure in activities you really once enjoyed. Feelings of worthlessness. I said that slowly because it's quite a hard word to say, worthlessness. Excessive guilt, self-blame, or sense of hopelessness about the future. What's the hope? What's the future hold for me? Cognitive difficulties, trouble concentrating, remember, or making decisions. And finally, thoughts of death or suicide. Let's hope we never get to that. But sometimes when people are depressed, they have these recurrent thoughts of dying or harming themselves. Now, John is a clinical hypnotherapist, and John's met many people in the business. You've already heard some of our podcasts. Symptoms, John. Have you met anybody who have come across with these symptoms?
Many times. Yeah, absolutely. I had a lady. She moved to New Zealand. I'd never met her before, and suddenly, out of the blue, I got this message from her on Facebook Messenger. I've heard about you. Can you help my friend? So she told me what's happening. A friend. She's got some children that are on the spectrum, basically, and they're a bit unruly, and she got very depressed with herself. She got so down that she was having dark thoughts. Uh, she gave me a friend's number, details. So I contacted from New Zealand to Hull to Greatfield. I contacted the girl, and hopefully I may be able to get her on here actually to talk about it as well. But she was in a very dark place, and using a certain language on the telephone, it enables a person to not understand why, but they just want to come to see you. So I managed to get her in a taxi. She came to my house, sat her down, and had a talk with her. And I found all sorts of things that was really knocking her. The people that she looked up to had passed away, and then the twin of that person passed away. So it seemed like everything was doom and gloom around her. So the only people that she could have talked to before was these people, what lifted her up and give her the feel good chemicals. So she was really down. She'd sat there. I think if I'd have let her just get up and walk out, she would have jumped in front of a bus. That's how bad she was. So I literally hypnotized her there and then. I just said, we need to work on you straight away. So she told me a few things about herself, which I can't obviously discuss. It's between me and her. But based on what she told me, is what I could use to reverse it, basically, and make these negatives into a positive, and make her feel different about herself in every form, shape, and way. It was the one session. That's all I did. It was quite spectacular actually, because she went from this doom and gloom to a smiling, lovely lady sat in front of me. I couldn't believe the difference in herself. And then she wrote me a really nice thing on Facebook, about how she was, she was recommending me basically, just go see John Green. It's transformed my life. Now I know I've got things to look forward to. Now she does things for all sorts of people. Now she raises money for charities. She's continually doing things and helping other people that's been in the same boat as her. So from doom and gloom to where she is now, it's nice to say, like it's like a pat on the back when they do right about what you've done. But it's not about getting the testimonials. It's about being able to help more and more people, because there are people out there what need the help but won't. They don't know where to go or who to ask, so they can come to me or get in touch with you.
John, do you think that people who have been in a real desperate despair, that they don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, when they do eventually come out of it, like you said, they kind of like become a different person because they realize that in life there's more to depression, and that you don't need to. Let's say, for example, if you live in a council house where the government pay and they pay your rent for your house, but you have to pay the eating, you have to buy the food, and literally you've got a tin of peas on the table. Uh, you can't afford to drink. You don't want to go out because there's nothing to go out for. These people are fallen into such a state that it's sometimes difficult to get out of them. But when they do eventually come out of depression, like you say, that lady who you helped there, you always find that they become do-gooders and they want to help other people because they've been helped and it's changed their life. And you always find that, I'm not saying that majority of them do, but quite a lot of people I've experienced who have been involved in deep depression have come out of it on the other side, on the better side, and be grateful. And they just want to help other people. They get involved in charities, raising money for people. And, it's quite surprising. I mean, I know a lady, a lady, she lost a daughter through bowel cancer. You'll know what I'm talking about. And very well-known lady, and I love her to bits, and I could see the despair in her. She was knocked for six. I mean, I'd been knocked for six. If you had a daughter and you was absolutely, close to her like it was your sister, and all of a sudden you lost her because of incompetence through the NHS and other things, when she could have been surviving, it must be heartbreaking. But when you can turn the depression around from losing somebody into helping, now this lady helps, she does charity shows, raises money for bowel cancer. It's such a good thing to see, isn't it?
The transformation that it puts into them, it's it's akin to them now becoming the teacher. Now, because they've gone through it, it's like people who are coming off alcohol and they go so many days free, so many months free. They've always got someone to help them, which is normally a former alcoholic, where they've gone through that and they've gone through their own battles, their own demons, and they've come out the other end. So they're the people that really the ones who have done it are the ones to turn to. Um, I've helped that many people through who wanted to have to do the daft things to the self, which I call daft things, because at the end of the day, there's always something on the other side. And I always say the light at the end of the tunnel isn't a train that's coming towards you. It really is a light at the end of the tunnel. People can't see it, and if they can't see it, to them it doesn't exist. So I say to him, well, stop breathing then. And so what do you mean? So, well, you can't see the air, that the oxygen you're breathing, but it's there. There's always something there, what you can't see. And at the end of that tunnel, you're going to come out the other end and feel an absolutely a different person altogether. And like you say, they do help other people. They're buzzing, and now they can see their own friends who are depressed, and they go, right, I've got something what's going to help you. I know someone
Correct.
who can help you, and then they start forming a mini charity without even realizing they're doing it.
Yeah. And do you know what else, John? I think as well, when people are in depression, it's brain triggers. It's something cognitive that sets the neurons working in unusual ways. Because I've been in I can't say I've ever been in a real state of depression, but some days you wake up and you feel depressed, and you can't understand what's triggered it. It might be a bad dream. It might be something that somebody said. It might be somebody that's hurt your feelings. It might be something you've done yourself and you regret it. And I think cognitive issues are all combined together with the neurons that trigger the wrong signals. And what you do, John, when you come to hypnotize people and do your clinical hypnotherapies on people, you change those neurons in the brain to make them become more positive. And it sparks and brings alight those neurons. Now, I when I used to teach, John, I used to I think, God, my brain's not working today. What's up with me? Brain's not working today. So I started looking into medication, and I found loads of herbal medication that fires off, that restarts your neurons, and that it's not addictive medication. It's just medication that kind of like triggers neurons and gets your brain working again. And I can't thank myself enough for getting those, because it's like a serious. Out here, I can't get them where I live in Thailand, but I get what's called a strong B12 juice. And before I go teaching companies that, that are intelligent people, and I've got to stand up in front of them and I take this B12, and it give my neurons come alive, and I'm that kind of person again, and it makes me feel much better. So I don't think there is a lot of people that realize there are things out there, like you, human being, that can help trigger the right emotions and not the bad ones. And there is help out there.
Without a doubt. When I'm talking to someone who's very down, so there's things, there's all chemicals like cortisol and all these sort of different chemicals, the stress chemicals, and then what I do, I the only way I can describe it in simplicity, there's a little almond shaped thing at the gland called a hypothalamus. And it's this what produces all the stress and whatever. It regulates your growth, regulates everything about you. So when you start putting a lot of stress onto this, it's shooting chemicals all over the place, and then suddenly there's what I call a lock, a dam, and your chemicals are. Your own body, for instance, can produce more chemicals to heal itself than every single laboratory on this entire planet. But when depression sets in, the chemicals which should be triggered off are blocked off here, and they can't get through to the autonomic system. They can't get through to helping the entire body to flush out and cleanse itself. So you're going to start to feel these toxic levels building up and building up, and you'll start to feel down. You start to feel depressed. You start to get the dark thoughts. So someone like me comes along, relaxes your body and mind, and then releases these lock gates. Woof! There's a flush of these amazing chemicals that's flushing you out, cleansing you, making you feel good inside, and making your eyes sparkle again and giving you that new sense of life. And you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. It is not a train, like I say.
No, it
So
isn't.
you alter the entire anatomy of that individual person into making them feel amazingly fantastic. Then they'll walk away thinking, this is how I want to feel all the time. But
Yeah,
until they've reached that peak, they
correct.
can't get it themselves. You know what I mean? It needs someone, an external force, and you don't need all these chemicals. You just need the
No.
chemicals are here. They're produced inside yourself. You don't need to have all these injections and tablets. You can make it happen yourself, but you need to want to. That's the
But
thing.
but also, John, you can't. There's nowhere to go. You can't go to doctors. You can't go see a psychologist, because you got to go to a doctor's before you see a psychologist. So it's kind of like one or the other. So there's not many people out there that can help you like we can in the Body Banter. Now, if if you're depressed and you have physical symptoms like sleep problems, insomnia, difficult sleeping, or oversleeping, appetite and weight changes, eating significantly more or less than usual, fatigue, feeling tired or having a lack of energy even after resting, and unexplained aches and pains, headaches, cramps, digestive issues that don't have a clear physical cause. If you have any of those physical symptoms, I suggest you're on track, or you are in a depressed state. So if you notice any changes like social withdrawal, isolation from family or friends, increased use of substance, alcohol, drugs, anything like that, we're going to be talking about that next. Agitation or relentlessness, restlessness, feeling agitated or anxious, you've got to know when to seek help. And if you're watching this or you're watching this on behalf of somebody else and you think John W. Green is the man to help you, then you should be getting in touch with the Body Banter. Now, we've spoke about depression. We're going to move on to another topic, which I think is equally as challenging and becoming more apparent. Now, we talk about alcoholism. Now, first of all, before we start, I'm going to ask you, I probably say most people like a tipple, a pint, half a pint, a glass of wine, a shot of whiskey, an Irish, a Baileys, anything like that, an Irish coffee, I was going to say, anything like that. It's not a problem. But just lately, I'm going to be honest with you, I went to my local shop and I bought myself a bottle of red wine, a good one, may I say, because I want to talk about the cheap and expensive bottles of red wine. A friend told me that if you look at the bottom of a bottle of red wine, it's got a flat base. It's too much chemical in it and it'll give you headaches. The deeper the hole, so if you can get your whole thumb inside the hole, the more full-bodied red, the more it's better for your body. So I kind of found a bottle which out here is about equivalent to about £12 in the UK. And I was sat there watching a movie and glass, another glass, another glass. Before I'd know it, I'd drunk the bottle. Now, is that social drinking or is that me having a problem, John?
You do it for various reasons, like because you are constantly editing and doing podcasts and you put a lot of strain onto yourself. So you drain yourself of all just of energy basically. So, and the dint in the bottom of the wine bottle, by the way, it's called posh pouring. What they do, the waiters put the thumb inside that and hold the bottle and they pour it like that. And it looks like they're not holding anything. The bottle just tilts. It's posh pouring. It's just put the thumb inside to pour it for the
But it is
people who want to
right
have a
about the
taste.
quality, yeah?
I don't understand that. And I don't know.
Okay.
I can't answer that one. I don't know. But I know posh pouring. I know what that's for. But you don't have a problem per se. All right. When people have got a problem and you look into their eyes and then you say to them, stop drinking for a month, and they go, that's when you know they've got a problem, because the thought of it's just people who are stopping smoking, for instance. They've been smoking for years, and then suddenly you say to them, I'm going to make you stop now. They go, it's like, what am I going to do? And it's akin to watching their favorite box set on TV. And you get to the very last episode, but you don't know it's the last episode. And it finishes and nothing else comes on. And what am I going to do now? There's that syndrome, all right? So they don't know what they're going to do next. So you have to do it, occupy them. Now, a craving for smoking, for instance, I normally say about 17 seconds. A lot of people will differ on that. But I normally say about 17 seconds. Now, 17 seconds is a long time. And it's 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. So if they go for a cigarette, it's 17 seconds. So I say to them, occupy your mind for 17 seconds. Wash the pots, make the beds. The craving will disappear. It's the same with the drink as well. Occupy your mind and just change what you're doing for as long as you can until that craving disappears. Then the gap between the cravings gets wider and wider and wider until they don't have that craving anymore. It just fades off and disappears. Normally takes about a month, 21 days to form a habit, 21 days to stop a habit. I know a lot of people say, no, I believe it's whatever you believe, right? Just I'm saying what I do. This is how I do mine. And with alcohol, people use excuses to drink alcohol. My parents died. Oh, I'll have a drink. My dad died 25 years ago. So on today, it reminds me. So, and then people use any excuse to drink, and they will blame anything to have a drink. Then what they'll do, they'll find a load of people who drink a lot all day. So they'll sit with these people so they don't look like the odd one out. So they all start sharing each other's money, borrowing money off each other each week. And then, oh, I get paid next week. So you lend me £10, I'll go buy a bottle of cider. And it gets worse and worse and worse. And then they start going to hospital with the problems with the liver, these sort of things. Then they start crying out, I need help. But it can be it's a really, very, very difficult route to take to get the help they need. It's very difficult for an alcoholic, very difficult.
It is very difficult. And I, after I drunk that bottle of wine, I kind of like slept well. And the next day, I couldn't, my mind wasn't working, John, you know? I didn't have an headache. I didn't feel sick. I felt quite good, but I felt like my brain was empty. What causes that, John?
Well, your sluggishness is when you get your body, it's clearing away itself. It's trying to flush itself out. It's trying to get rid of all these chemicals. So the focus on your mind and your body is to get rid of all this crap that's inside you, and it needs to flush it out because it isn't what the body needs. It's not part of the body. It's just an extra you piled on top. So your body is your temple. So your temple, each little room in your temple needs clearing out. So you're basically sweeping each room and clearing each room and doing it bit by bit. So it will divert the cognitive side away from you until it feels all right down below and flushes itself out. The liver, the kidneys, the all part of the autonomic system starts to cleanse itself. Once it's done that, then you'll start to be yourself again. But
I
you need
noticed
to.
that. Yeah.
A lot of people, sorry for interrupting, a lot of
Yeah.
people make the mistake. They say, well, I'll drink plenty of water. Now,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, drink plenty of water, fine. But what you're doing is diluting all the good chemicals in your body. So you need to put some electrolytes in. So before you drink the water, do a sprinkle of maybe rock salt or pink salt. Sprinkle it into the water, squeeze of lemon, then drink the water. You're replacing the electrolytes without diluting everything and flushing it all out of your body. So you'll feel better by the lemon and the salt and then the water, but make sure the water's room temperature. Don't give your body something else to fight, which is freezing cold, trying to warm it all up. Make sure it's warm body temperature. Squeeze of lemon, squeeze of pink salt or rock salt, sea salt. Drink that. Electrolytes are filling back up again. You'll recover a lot quicker. You'll feel better in yourself.
John, you're not a drinker, are you?
No, I don't drink alcohol at all, no.
And does it bother you?
Not really. No. I mean, I'm not saying I will never ever drink alcohol. For instance, my friend I was in the same class at school with. He came to my house. It was his birthday. It was same year as me. And I said to him, "Come on, we'll go across the pub." I bought him a pint, and I had a pint with him. Do you know what I mean? But that was it. I won't I won't drink for years and years to come now. But even on my own birthdays, I don't drink. It's not because of a problem. It's just that it doesn't. I don't like drinking. I don't feel it suits me. You know what I mean? I don't feel it, and that clogginess and the DTS that you get and all these sort of things that go with it. I don't like it. I don't like to feel like that, and the headaches, the hangovers, and dehydration. It's not
Yeah.
me. I just don't like it.
Why do people? Why do people? There's like me. I drink in moderation. I'm not. I'm not saying I'm. I probably have a bottle of wine every 3 or 6 months, John. Probably less because But sometimes I just want to watch a movie and a bottle of wine. I don't know what senses or what triggers my body to say you need a bottle of wine. Like you said, busy. Your mind's pretty busy when you're on the computer all the time and you're talking to people. You have to be alert. Sometimes I think you want to close all that off and just shut your body down.
It's a good relaxant. That's
Mm,
basically what it is. It's to
mm.
just relax your mind, relax your body, and it gives you a warm feeling inside as well.
Yeah, yeah, it
It makes you
does. Yeah,
feel warm. It makes you feel cozy,
yeah.
and that's good. It's not a problem. That is not a problem at all. It's
Oh,
when you go to the houses and they've got a cocktail cabinet and they live on their own, but nearly all the bottles are nearly all empty.
yeah.
That's when you see a problem. And then you look in the dustbins or the trash cans, as they say in America, and it's full of empty bottles, and
Well,
there's a problem.
John, I can't never understand why people go to Asda and buy a bottle of whiskey, a bottle of vodka, umpteen bottles just to make the shelf look good, because it's putting tempt into fate, isn't it? Into like, oh, I can see it. It's too handy. I'll have it. You know.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
think that's a lot of the time what causes people to overindulge, because they think it's just too easy. When if somebody says to you, you sat on the sofa, shall we go get a bottle of vodka? I can't be asked. Or, okay, we'll go get it. So you go to the shop, you get a bottle of vodka, you come back and say, bloody hell, it was raining, it's horrible. Let's enjoy this bottle of vodka. Next time you'd think twice about doing it. But if you had a bottle of vodka, a bottle of whiskey, bottle of gin on the shelf, I bet some people would go through them, and that's why the bottles are empty. Now, what causes people, John, to overindulge in alcohol so much that become alcoholics and want to die?
It creeps up on them.
Does
It
it?
creeps up on them to a point that it becomes a habit. Then they start to, I'll say to them, stop drinking for a month, and their eyes just go wide open. It's like, I'll give an example. So I was working in a bar, and somebody offered me a drink, and I said, I don't drink alcohol. They go, you don't drink alcohol? Like, as if I
Yeah,
was an
sure.
alien. You know what I mean? Yeah, what? And it creeps up on people. They don't realize they're doing it, but they'll start to socialize. Then they'll start to have it at home when no one's there. Then they feel like I need to go for a drink. Then you'll say to someone, do you fancy a couple of pints? And they say, I can't just have a couple. They can't just have a couple of pints. They have to have a full session and go home paralytic. They have to feel like they've had a really good session, maybe 8 or 9 pints, plus the shots in between as well. They wake up feeling terrible, and after a while, they don't start to wake up with the hangovers anymore. They're just reaching for another drink. The hair
Really?
of the dog. Because they feel dry, they feel dehydrated. So they go for the hair of the dog. Then they start to damage their internal organs. They start to feel poorly. So they feel poorly. They think, oh, I better take the symptoms away. I'll have a drink. And it relieves the symptoms for a little while because the mind's now drunk again. And it's just a spiral into a never ending way of getting out of it until you decide I need to stop. They start selling things. They sell the furniture and they sell the TVs, everything just to buy alcohol. When they've got no more money, they start to rob and they start to take it from the off licenses without people knowing. When they get caught, they get arrested. They get they get a police record, and their lives just go downhill. And it starts off with just socializing.
John, I can relate to it because sadly I've had two brothers who've died of alcoholism, and one of my brothers is half the size of me. I think I weigh about 80 kilo. My brother, one of my younger brothers, was about 55 kilo, and he'd have a bottle of vodka every day, a full bottle.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
no, no, nothing in it. And he'd have a maybe shots. Then he'd go to the pub and have 15 pints. Now, if I had 2 pints, I'd be bloated. I don't know where people put 15 pints in their body. I just don't know. And he was a nasty lad, and I never used to like going to my family's because, oh, don't come, Gary's here. Is he drunk? Well, you might know he is, and when somebody's drunk, they become sarcastic and, they think they're powerful, and you just want to knock them out. That's what I wanted to do. My own brother,
yeah,
when I saw him like that, I kind of like humoured him and didn't say it out because I know it was the alcohol talking. But there was some days I really clenched my fist and wanted to knock him out. But you know what, John? It's not the right thing to do because they've got a problem, and they think nothing of picking a knife up and stabbing you, so you're creating another problem. Now, he sadly died of alcoholic poisoning in Hull Royal, and I won't wish it on anybody. I saw what he went through, and his skin was yellow, his eyes were green, and he looked like a monster, and it was sad. He wanted to die, and that was it. And then my other brother, the youngest brother I had, was a secret drinker. Now, I used to go to my mum and dad's, and they lived on St. George's Road, and, they was quite old, and he lived near them, not far away. And he used to come every day and everything. But my mum says, oh, Darren's a secret drinker. So what do you mean? Well, he's always asking for money for a bottle of wine or a few cans. Oh, well, as long as he don't turn into a full-blown alcoholic. Well, he started to drink, like you said, more and more and more. And then my mum and dad came sick, and my mum was very sick, and he had to come round, and he was the only one that could care for my mum. Now, in caring for my mum, she used to wee herself all the time, so you had to, take her pants off and clean her in that area. Now, when he used to say to me on the phone, "Do you know what it's like washing your mum in the private places?" I said, "I don't," but I said, "I can imagine it." He said, "No, do you know why I drink?" I said, "No, I don't know why you drink. That shouldn't make you drink, because there are things you can do to do that." Anyway, Mum passed away. She had a what they call it, a bed sore on her back, grade 5. Horrible thing to see. It stunk and it was horrible. I came to England, and gladly so, before she died. And my brother, within 4 weeks, when the funeral left, he followed the funeral car on his bike followed it, with a bottle of whiskey, and he sat on my mum's grave, and he just drunk and drunk. He didn't move, and he died of alcohol. He died of, I don't know what he would have died of, love, miss, or grief. I don't know what it was, but sadly, I've had two brothers that died of it. Now, the symptoms of alcoholic disorder can be mild, moderate, or severe, as you know, John. Based on the number of symptoms you experience, these are some of the symptoms that you should be looking out for to see if you're an alcoholic or not. I think you should already know this. Being unable to limit the amount of alcohol you drink, wanting to cut down how much you drink, or making unsuccessful attempts to do so. We'll talk about that one in a minute, John. Spending a lot of time drinking, getting alcohol, or recovering from alcoholic use, feeling strong cravings or urge to drink alcohol, failing to fulfill major obligations at work, school, or home due to repeated alcohol use, continuing to drink alcohol even though you know it's causing physical, social, work, or relationship problems, giving up or reducing social work and activities and hobbies to use alcohol, using alcohol in situations where it's not safe, such as when driving or swimming. We all know what that's like in England. Developing tolerance to alcohol, so you need more and more. So you kind of like feel the effects you have to have a reduced effect from the same amount. I know that's difficult to say, but experience withdrawal symptoms such as nausea, sweating, shaking when you don't drink, or drinking to avoid these symptoms. Now, John, we spoke about earlier on feeling a strong craving or urge to drink alcohol. That starts when you first start having a session with friends, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It's all these social gatherings that start it off. Some people can take it or leave it, but some people's body and the mind seem to be latched onto, I need more and more and more. As an example, I like I say, I've had a few pubs and clubs, and one of these pubs that wasn't mine, I was entertaining it, and this family used to come in regularly, the full family, and they used to get a bar tab, and the main person of the family, the man, he used to get the 2 litre bottle of vodka and drink a full 2 litre bottle of vodka to himself in front of me, right? And then all the rest of the family. And he used to get a bar tab. So they'd write it all down, and then he would go in and pay it off. And they write it down, he would go in and pay it off. And he'd just drink and drink and drink like this, and got all the full family doing it as well. So they was all hooked on his addiction because they all stuck together. He was the money man. So then what they did on the last one, they run up a bar bill and then didn't go back to that bar again. They went to another bar where nobody knew them and started doing it again. Pay it once and then run away. Pay it once and run away. He died of alcohol poisoning, and then gradually another one died, another one died. Okay. The rest of them now, they're all alive, but they don't drink. They don't drink at all based on what he put them through. It was the boss. He was, you will drink, you will drink. To make himself feel better, he made them drink so that it didn't
Was
look
it
like it was just him.
was it imitation, John? Because we grew up and learning about life on imitating things, don't we? Like, for example, when a baby's born, it develops its life by imitating. And do you think humans are kind of like imitating each other for the good or for the bad?
Well, a child up until the age of about 8 or 9, they haven't fully developed as conscious mind, the
Yes.
analytical side. So everything they're doing is copying and mimicking. They're like a video recorder, and they copy every single thing. So when people say, "Oh, you're just like your father," or "You're just like your mother,"
Yeah.
yes, they are. They're exactly like their father, exactly like their mother. So if the father is a drinker and an angry person, they will grow up to be drinkers and angry people unless someone intervenes. They need intervention. So that's why they've got two parents. The mother's going to say, I don't want you to be like him. So that's the good side. So there's a yin and yang. But if you've got a mother and a father what both drink and do the drugs as well, what chance has that child got? So social services are there now to intervene to pull them away from that because they don't want them to grow up like that. So yeah, they haven't developed an analytical conscious mind yet, so they will copy and mimic.
What and what causes you like? I want to be one of the boys. I've heard this so many times. You being a landlord in many pubs and successful clubs, you must have seen it time and time again. Maybe you've met a kid that don't drink a lot, but he gets in with the boys. Right, you're around. Come on, let's have a drink, boys. Oh, I want to be one of the boys. And he becomes influenced. And before you know it, he's paralytic. Have you seen that many times?
Lots of times. I see it even today. It's
Really?
peership, absolute peership. That's all
Is
it
it?
is. Pure peership. But there's the good thing with what I do. I can slyly intervene and say, I'll see the one who's more sensible or the ones that are encouraging because he doesn't want to do that. But they're all saying, go on, 1, 2, 3,
Yeah, yeah,
get it.
yeah.
Right. So they're egging him on. So I'll go up to them and talk in their ear and say, do you know when your friends all jump off a cliff? When are you going to jump off the cliff? And they go, what? So if your friends tell you to jump off the cliff, will you do it? Well, just if you don't want to drink, don't drink. And tell your friends, I'll have a Coca-Cola, I'll have a soft drink. Tell them. They'll soon back off you and they'll soon respect you more because you've got more willpower than all of them put together. You're the stronger person. I'll make them feel good and feel good about themselves. Then I'll walk away. And that person, will adapt themselves to being an individual rather than a sheep.
Yeah. And today's society, John, we have supermarkets that sell beer and wines and spirits at lower cost than what you can get in the pubs. I suppose that don't encourage people to drink at home. And what I'm surprised about is that the government a few years ago spoke about adding a sugar tax to everything with sugar in it because the nation is becoming obese because people eating pizza, chips, takeaway, and it's causing strain on the health service. But yet they don't put a alcohol or levy on or something like that, which I don't understand the difference, John.
Well, the only thing what they do is put the alcohol percentage on the bottle to allow you to make your own decisions at the end of the day. There's only so much that the government can do. But this sugar tax and stuff like that, but it's silly because they'll charge more. Initially, you'll think, oh no, it's a lot more, but then inflation goes up, so you can afford it again. They're just going to help you to match what is the addiction. So rather than taking the sugar away completely, they're just going to keep giving you more money to buy more sugar to buy more alcohol.
Yeah, well, we've been talking about depression. We had a good chat about that. And if you feel that you would like to talk to us, myself or John, on the Body Banter, we're starting to have people on our show. So we need people like if you've experienced it, if you are an alcoholic, if you are in depression, come on the show. Let's see if we can clear your mind. Let's have a pre-show interview and let's see what we can do. But thoughts are coming out all over the place about depression and alcoholism. I think that's probably one of the top two illnesses, self-influenced illnesses at the moment in the UK. Depression and alcoholism. So, you know, if your loved ones need help, um, we're here. Let's chat, let's talk, let's try and you know understand where you're coming from because there's always a light at the end of the tunnel, like John says. You can talk to people in a different way and change the mindsets. And that's what we aim to do at the Body Banter. We're not health professionals. We're not doctors, but we've had a good experience on about life. I'm retired. John's retired. You know, I've been a teacher, psychology. John's a clinical hypnotherapist. You know, between us, you know, there are different ways or types of help that we can offer you,
Lots of
and
methods.
lots of
Lots of
methods.
methods. Yeah.
That's the one, John. So, you know, don't be shy. And next week we'll try and see if we can interview somebody on the Body Banter. Yes, we are pretty young, but we're growing fast. All I ask you to do is share this channel, ask people to like it, because we need your help. We can't survive without you. We need the channel stats to grow. So the more the channel stats grow, the more people will see this, the more people we can help. So on behalf of John, on
Thank you.
behalf of myself, Sean at the Body Banter, keep watching, keep sharing, keep liking. Thank you.